Hi everybody, I'm Marty Stuart coming to you live from dreary old Nashville today, a rainy day. Got a train in the background, but more importantly, I got my friend Mr. Brian Lord over here. And we're here to talk about the book, The Pilgrim, and the record, The Pilgrim, and the vinyl, The Pilgrim, but primarily the book and the project. Brian, it started as a song, and then it evolved into a recording, and then it has now evolved into a book that tells the story of the evolution of the story of the Pilgrim, what it's all about. And the thing that's special to me here is it's the 20th anniversary of the Pilgrim. New Year's Day is not New Year's Day, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, this book goes into wide release. And I'm honored that you guys would jump in and help me sell a few copies of it and talk about it. Because the record, historically, when it came out to great critical acclaim, great fanfare, and the record company kind of went, and it kind of went off to the side. But the record has never, ever gone away. There's always been fans that bring me copies of The Pilgrim to sign. So 20 years later, it's being re-released in all those forms we're talking about, on vinyl, in book form, with CD with 9 bonus tracks, which is included in this book. And one of the things that really, really touched my heart, back in September, last September, I was artist in residence at the Country Music Hall of Fame. And the first show, all 3 shows, there were 3 nights, 3 different themes. So the first night was about the Pilgrim, and we did the Pilgrim in its entirety with strings. All the musicians, Emmylou Harris came by. Chris Scruggs, of course, is in my band. Pam Tillis came by. My wife, Connie Smith, came by. All these guests came by that were participated in the original project. But the fans, there were people from Brazil,
wow,
Norway, Germany, England, California, New York, Connecticut, Kentucky, Nevada, Iowa, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama. People came from all over the globe to be in the presence of the songs of the Pilgrim and the story of the Pilgrim. And that touched me deeply. So it's a project, again, that's special to me, special to my heart. You can tell you what, you want to get started, I can give you. Here's your first assignment. Scott Bomar, the fellow who signed this book to BMG Books, wrote a beautiful foreword. And if you want to know anything about what it's really about, where is it? We'll be right back with you. Billy Bob Thornton wrote the foreword. The preface was written by Scott Bomar, author, music historian in Los Angeles. How about read the first paragraph, and that'll kind of get you set as to where we're going here today, all right?
All right, sounds great. In the same way the Bible is divided into the Old and New Testaments, Marty Stuart's musical career is divided into everything that came before 1999 and everything that came after. The dividing line is The Pilgrim, Stuart's 10th studio album. The risky and ambitious concept project, based on true events that transpired in his hometown of Philadelphia, Mississippi, was a turning point in Marty's unique artistry. While not a commercial success at the time, The Pilgrim represents a rediscovery of his roots and a creative rebirth that continues to reverberate today as we celebrate the album's 20th anniversary.
So that's the truth, and this book is full of there's session photos. It's called The Pilgrim, A Wall-to-Wall Odyssey. All the lyrics from the songs are in here. There are photographs that I took, a lot of my photographs, but then there were photographs that were taken. One of my favorite ones, when I was in Johnny Cash's band, one of the chapters in here is Memphis. And there's a picture of my professors. There is Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, and me. That's when I was first getting started, and that was my professors to hook me up at the Class of 55 session. So there's a lot of historical photographs in here that are worth the price of admission, as well as the music. So with that in mind, what would you like to do now?
Well, I mean, my job here is just to kind of help communicate with you and the people who are buying this book, putting in questions. And if you're watching online now, you can go to premiercollectibles.com/The Pilgrim and purchase a book, put in your question, and we'll read them here.
So, and we're happy to answer your questions.
Yeah,
You bet. So in the meantime, do I sign some of these?
Yeah. So you'll go ahead and sign. While you're signing, I'll give you some questions.
Okay.
All right, so the first question is from Guy in Durham, New Hampshire. How often do you and the fabulous superlatives rehearse? I was so good on that one. Here, I'll take this one when you're done with it.
Okay.
I'll pass them over here so you got room to write.
Well, we rehearse a lot at sound check every day, but when we have special events coming up, for instance, the Hall of Fame shows we talked about, we're working on beginning songs of a new record right now. We tend to have take a dressing room at the hall we're working at, and we work for an hour and a half or something per afternoon as needed. But we kind of just play all the time. But as far as getting serious about rehearsing, we tend to do it on the road because it's hard to get everybody together in town. Yeah.
All right, so next one up, we got Wendy from Reno, Nevada.
Hi, Wendy.
Will you collaborate with Mike Campbell again? I love the sound when you two work together.
Mike Campbell and I are long-time soulmate brothers, and we will absolutely collaborate together. We started collaborating in the beginning, in the early 90s. We worked together when Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and myself, we were Johnny Cash's backup band on the Unchained record for American Recordings. And the first thing Mike and I really set like this and collaborated on was a song called Rusty Cage. And that got us started, but we've collaborated. We've written songs. We've done Way Out West album ever since. But yeah, the short answer is absolutely Wendy. You bet.
Now this one's from Corey in Galesville, Wisconsin. What's the feeling you have each time Kenny Vaughn plays guitar with you?
I want to kill him because he's the best guitar player. It's funny. Kenny and I, it's such a natural thing. I love Kenny's playing. He's my favorite guitar player. When we push the faders in the studio up, even when we're not listening to each other, it's like a tapestry. He plays things that compliment me, and I play things that compliment him without trying or thinking about it. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of a buddy, brotherhood on the guitar. Kenny's my favorite.
All right. This is from Gary in Hickory, North Carolina.
Hey, Gary.
At what point in the songwriting process did you realize that the Pilgrim was going to be something more than a collection of songs? Love your work, man. You're an inspiration.
Thank you. Well, the Pilgrim was the only song I had in this project for months and months and months, and I wrote it when Bill Monroe died. And I knew that there was something special about it. We recorded it at Sun Studios in Memphis as a demo, but I couldn't get anything to go with it. And oddly enough, sometimes it takes a picture to unlock. This photograph right here was given to me, the original photo, that is President Franklin Roosevelt's train going through Nashville in 1934. Oh, wow. And my friend Tom Allen, who's a great artist inside this book, his mother took that. And she gave me the original image. I went, wait a minute, that Pilgrim character, I think, is supposed to be riding a train like this. And then the real story of the Pilgrim, which was the tragedy that happened in my hometown based on that. It all started coming together, and the story started forming. And so after I kind of got it together, I thought, this could be a pretty good country song. Then I went, no, this is like Shakespeare. This is huge. It became an opera in my mind, and then a country opera set to the evolution of country music. So Earl Scruggs and Johnny Cash and George Jones, Emmylou Harris, Connie Smith, Uncle Josh Graves, Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys, they all came by to help me tell the story as it evolved. So it just kept growing on me. It's like that one of those kudzu vines over there in Carolina just kept coming at me.
So this is from Scotty in Mount Orab, Ohio. Who is the most recent person that has signed your mandolin?
I think Chris Stapleton. We were backstage one night after we did about 60 shows with Chris and his guys, and I think I handed him my pocket knife and said, sign this, and he said, I don't want to scratch it. We're like, yeah, right. But Chris his penmanship is excellent, by the way. I think Chris was the last guy.
Okay, nice. So this is John Shaw in Franklin, Tennessee.
Hey, John.
Thank you for preserving the heritage of country music. Do you still collect instruments and artifacts?
I do. Last week, Eddie Stubbs, our esteemed announcer at WSM, he gave me a two-piece nudie suit that belonged to Carl Smith, who was a Franklin fella, great country star. Bought Jimmy Rogers guitar, one of Jimmy Rogers guitars last year. Got Charlie Pride's Fender Antigua guitar over the holidays. Yeah, so I try to quit, but they keep finding me, so that's how it works.
All right, this one's from Tracy in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. What is your favorite concert?
My favorite concert that I've ever played? Wow, I don't know. I guess the first time that I stood on stage at the Ryman Auditorium when I was 13 years old and played with Lester Flatt and his band. The place, it was on my side. A lot of applause. That probably stands as my favorite concert ever. You know, I felt like I was a member of the family of country music at the end of that moment. So,
yeah. Now, what did he tell you after you got off stage? I read a little bit about that story there.
Well, I kept at the end of the song, people just kept applauding. And I thought I had done something wrong, and I looked at him. I said, "What did I do?" He said, "Do it again." So I did it again.
All right, so this one is from John in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. What's your favorite song to perform, and what is your favorite song of all time?
Boy, John, you ask hard questions. Well, the favorite song comes and goes every night. You know, from the old radio hits, the ones that you know kind of got me a job out there. I think the song "Tempted" still means a lot to me. Favorite song of all time? Last week it was "Wichita Lineman" by Glenn Campbell. I don't know. That's a great record. And then I listen to the Beatles channel. Then it becomes something. Then I listen to an old country. It changes every time the wind blows. But let's call it "Wichita Lineman" today. All right.
Sounds good. This is from Joshua in San Diego.
Hey, Joshua.
What are your 3 favorite cover songs?
Funny enough, a friend of mine who is helping us at the Congress of Country Music down in Mississippi has a company called the CeeLo Agency, and we are going down and play a frat party in Jackson, Mississippi this coming Wednesday at a private frat party for Eliza CeeLo and her people. And the rules are we have to play no songs that belong to us. We have to be a cover band. I mean, Louie Louie, I'm a Believer by the Monkees I'm singing. And there's a song called Poor Side of Town by Johnny Rivers. Those are 2 of my favorites. And maybe... Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. Those are 3 of my favorite cover songs. Wait a minute, let me change that. Maybe So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star by the Byrds.
Okay.
All right.
Nice. All right, this one's from Terrence in Black Diamond, Alberta. If you could travel back in time, where would you go, when, and why?
I'd probably go back to 1927. And go to the Bristol sessions, because that's when country music started finding its legs commercially. It was the downbeat of the country music industry. The Bristol sessions is when Ralph Peer had the Carter family and Jimmy Rogers and Pop Stoneman and fiddle players and singers and balladeers from all over that region to come and play into his Victor microphone as kind of as a talent search. So it would have been really cool to have been a part of that. And of course, if I had been, I'd be dead by now. But it would have been great to see all that come together, I think.
Yeah. All right, so this one's from Renee in Desert Hot Springs, California.
Oh, wow. You have palm trees down there. I'm jealous.
And what practice exercises can you recommend for an older woman who has played for years but kind of stuck?
Find your favorite records. Find your favorite songs, and if you have a record player, play along. Just play along, or play along with the radio, and have fun. The main thing is have fun with it. Don't take your eye off the fun factor. Don't let it turn into work. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we got Nathan from Burnsville, North Carolina. Have you considered a movie based on the Pilgrim album?
Yes, it has been talked about. There's a Broadway theatrical company that has come and talked to me a couple of times. They have developed a concept. They have developed a script. And they're actually coming back to Nashville. Craig Cantrell later in this month, I think, or in February, March, to talk more about it. So it has been talked about. And when I first started this record, and during the recording of it, Billy Bob Thornton was around a good bit back then. I was doing some music for some of his films. And Billy Bob had talked about, there's a song on the record called The Observations of a Crow. He says you could take that one song and make a movie out of it, and I agree. So yeah, it has cinematic qualities, you bet.
This is from Virgil in Fort McMurray, Alberta. Are you going to do the Marty Stuart show again?
No, we did 156 episodes of that show. Mission accomplished, but we are working on a new television show. We've shot 2 episodes, or an episode and a half maybe, and I'm about to embark on the 3rd one and hit the editing process and turn it into a real show. So stay tuned, sir, and we'll try to get back on the TV airwaves. I'm in the mood to do TV again.
All right, this one's from Clark in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. What is your favorite guitar to play?
My Clarence White 1954 B-string Bender Telecaster. It's Old Faithful. It will never let you down. I love that guitar.
Yeah.
Come see me sometimes. I'll let you play it.
And I see, and you do have in here several of your guitars in.
There's a lot of guitar collectors that follow the superlatives around, and in the pages of the book here, all of the guitars and instruments that played on the Pilgrim are listed in the back in the story. Most of them are historical guitars. There's Don Rich's Esquire, our Telecaster that he played on Tiger by the Tail, Love's Gonna Live Here with the Buckaroos. There's Johnny Cash's J200 that he played on Don't Take Your Guns to Town, 5 Feet High and Rising, Pickin' Time. Luther Perkins' guitar that he played at Folsom Prison on the original cut of I Walk the Line. Clarence's guitar. Mick Ronson's Esquire that I bought. There's Hank Williams' guitar, Lester Flatt's guitar. Most of these are from my collection. And so we fill the studio with these guitars. And I talk about it in the book. And they were all around the room. And there was like, these guitars gave that room a presence and a prominence that it probably wouldn't otherwise had. And it was good to go. I think I'll play this one on that song. Mm-hmm. So the guitars are very much a part of this thing.
So Valerie from Alamogordo, New Mexico. Who would you like to do a duet with?
Norah Jones. I love Norah Jones singing. And the quality of her music is so great. The integrity of her music is so beautiful. She comes from such a great musical background. So hopefully some days our paths will cross and we get to play some music together.
Very cool. This is from Regina in LaSalle, Illinois. Would you do an Outlaws group today? Would you do an Outlaws group today of Cash, Nelson, Jennings, like Christopherson did? We need genuine country hearts back.
You're talking about a different version of the Highwaymen, I think is what maybe she's trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that was, I helped put that band together simply by bringing that song to the project back then. Mm-hmm. And it kind of organically happened. It wasn't like pulled together in a boardroom. There's a saying in Nashville, it all begins with a song, and that's very true. And Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, I was in John's band still at that time, were embarking on doing a duets record together. And after about 2 days, nothing had really happened. Their voices were so unique, but there was really no harmony or anything. So we were struggling, and my cousin ran Glenn Campbell's publishing company, and they had a song together called The Highwayman that I had been told about for several years. And I went and got it, and I took it back to the studio and played it for Chips Moman, the producer, and John. And there was 4 verses, no harmony required. And so John said, I'll take that verse about the starship. And so that's how that project, it just kind of organically happened. So if another one of those things kind of happens that way, sure, I'd entertain being a part of that. But to stage it, I don't know, might get a little funny.
Yeah. This is from Darcy in London, England. How's the museum coming along?
Marty Stuart's Congress of Country Music in Philadelphia, Mississippi is coming right along. We had a great financial breakthrough last week. Well, I think we're about a third of the way now, almost a third. Zipped up on our funding. We need several million more to go, but it's in the works. The collection lives in Philadelphia, Mississippi. The buildings are purchased. The boards are seated. The town is kind of building by building, stepping back up. Our new TV show will be based from down there. And I think probably 2.5 to 3 years, we should be able to cut ribbon. So that's what we're doing. You're invited. Come on.
All right. Let's see here. This one is from Gary in Manchester, New Hampshire. Do you sense Clarence White while playing the B Fender?
Absolutely. His daughter, Gary, is that his name?
Yeah.
Hey, Gary. You're probably a Byrds fan, and do you remember that album cover called Byrds Maniacs? And it had 4 chrome death masks that they had done to the Byrds and the guys' faces. Clarence's daughter, Michelle, brought the one of Clarence by the studio when we were doing the Way Out West record, and I was working with that guitar on a particular solo. And I was playing it, and I was looking down, and there was Clarence's death mask looking up at me, his face. I'm going, I got to get this right. I absolutely feel Clarence's presence. And I really feel it when I listen to what Clarence played and then listen to what I can play on it. It sends me back to the woodshed every time. He was the best. He was the best.
This is Jim in Des Moines, Iowa. Where's your favorite place to perform and why?
Well, I love the Ryman Auditorium because it's where I started. It's home turf. There's also a theater in Stoughton, Wisconsin called the Stoughton Opera House. It's a small venue that we play once a year just so I can go and look at it. We usually do a matinee and an evening show there because it's so small. But the acoustics are almost perfect. And a lot of the cosmetics and that I've borrowed from the Stoughton Opera House, we will renovate the Ellis Theater to look like in Philadelphia. So the Stoughton Opera House and the Ryman are 2 of my favorite places in the world to play.
This is from David from Brampton, Ontario. Who makes your stage clothing?
Well, there's 3 people. Some vintage pieces came from Nudie the Rodeo Taylor. And of course, Manuel, my brother here in town, in Nashville, the king of cowboy couture. Manuel makes pieces. And then Jaime, custom tailor. Jaime's the last of the guys standing, the true cowboy tailors out on Lankershim Boulevard in North Hollywood, California. So Jaime and Manuel are the 2 that are active these days. But Jaime primarily makes most of the band suits.
All right, this one's from Stig in Rognan Saltdal. Who's your favorite guitar player?
My favorite rock and roll guitar player is Mike Campbell. If you listen to Tom Petty's records, it speaks for itself. Those songs that Tom wrote are incredible, but Mike framed them musically with hooks and pretty melodic, things that tickled your ear that just make you remember them time after time. So Campbell.
All right. This is from Vicky in Detroit, Michigan. I know you collect items from other artists. Is there an item that you collected that means the most to you?
Connie Smith. Connie Smith.
Can you tell us, for those who may not know, what's the story of meeting her not once but twice?
She came to my hometown in 1970 down in Mississippi and sang at the Choctaw Indian Fair. And Connie was my mom's favorite singer. And my sister, Jennifer, and myself, my mom took us to the Choctaw Indian Fair to see Connie. I was 11 years old. I thought I was 12 for all these years, but Ken Burns, during that series, informed me that I was 11. And on the way home from the show that night, I just told my mom I'm going to marry Connie Smith someday. So it took me 25 years, but I did. We've been married over 20 years now, so it's working.
Yeah.
She's still my girl.
Now, this one's from Bernd in Hatton, Niedersachsen. Any plans to come to Germany?
We're going to Europe next year, and I would hope Germany is a part of the route over there. I do. It's time to come back to Germany. You bet.
All right. This one's from Steven in Orlando, Florida. Is the music scene in East Nashville really a thing, or is it just one small facet of Music City?
Well, it is a thing, but it's one small facet because there's different pockets of musical cultures all over this town. But seemingly East Nashville to me seems like it has a more of an independent spirit. Authentic country music gets played at the Legion down here on Honky Tonk Tuesdays. So if you're really into the kind of the authentic end of 50s and 60s honky tonk country music, East Nashville's the home of that. And like again, independent spirit, that kind of sums up East Nashville to me.
All right, this is Bill in Austin, Texas. Who's the one artist you haven't photographed that you wish you would have?
Well, I can tell you this. I tell you the shot that I missed, the one that got away, was in Austin, Texas. Willie Nelson had Willie's big 6-0 birthday party. Filmed at Austin City Limits. So everybody came, and I came down there, and Lucas Nelson was just a little guy at that time. And Bob Dylan was here, and Willie was here, and I was playing the mandolin behind him. And they were running the song, Townes Van Zandt song, Poncho and Lefty. And Lucas had his pants stuck down at his boots, and his legs were about that long, and he had a cowboy hat on. And he was playing the harmonica, holding on to his daddy's pants leg. And I didn't have my camera. I went, missed that one. It was a precious shot.
So this is from Lonnie in South Rockwood, Michigan. I'm a songwriter from Detroit. Have you found it as years pass, the muse finds you more frequently than in your younger years? Thanks for your amazing influence.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Songwriting is a life sentence. It's a gift and a sentence for life. And I think the idea is you just have to keep your heart open, stay out of the way, look for interesting things to talk about, interesting things to write about, and keep your antenna up. And then you never know when a song is going to float down from the sky and visit you. So stay tuned.
How do you tune into that? Like, what do you use to, do you always carry something around with you, or how do you keep track of what it comes to?
Well, there's my bag right there, and there's a book with a blank page that's dying to have a song on it. But the thing that inspires me more probably than anything is a deadline. A deadline and a subject matter. When we were doing our TV show, the Marty Stuart show, if there was a spot on the show that needed a particular type of song and I couldn't come up with it, I thought, well, write it and make sure it's good enough to put on the air. So having that deadline that I have to do it by next Wednesday, and it has to be this quality of song, that helped me a lot. But just to write and hope that it hits a cloud somewhere, that's harder than it used to be. But having a focused point, that helps.
Yeah. This is from Karen in Lakewood, Colorado. What drew you to country music? What person or song was the aha moment for you regarding country music?
When I was a little boy, country songs, it was the stories in the songs. Jimmy Dean had a song called Big Bad John about a coal miner who died in a mine. Johnny Cash's songs, 5 Feet High and Rising, about a flood that happened to their family farm in Arkansas. Don't Take Your Guns to Town, about a cowboy whose mother begs him not to go into town, but he doesn't listen to his mom. And those kind of songs got me when I was 5 years old. While the rest of the world was listening to the Beatles, I tended to tune into those country songs because I like the stories. And I think I listened to everything. I liked everything. Rock and roll and soul music and gospel music and all that touched my head. But country music got into my heart. And I think the aha moment was there was a point, a great rededication of it was when I was starting this Pilgrim project. We had so much success in the 90s, loud music, a lot of, it was just kind of part of the parade, but the heart and soul was kind of getting left behind. And one day I woke up and I had fallen completely head over heels in love with traditional country music all over again. And that was probably the biggest aha moment of my life.
Is country music the best for storytelling, medium?
I think it is. I think, it's the stories that matter. It's the stories that matter at the end of the day, of the people who write them, sing them, play them, and tell them. And it's about us as American people and a reflection of that. Or not just American people, but just people, the human race. And I like truthful stories.
All right, this one's from Andrew in Lebanon, Kentucky. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to break into the music industry?
At all costs, Andrew, follow your heart. Follow your heart. You may be the most unpopular guy in the world for 15 years, but follow your heart because it's who you really are. Do it your way. Do it the way you see it, feel it, believe it, and stay with that, and you'll wind up at the right place. We don't need any more of what we already got. We need some Andrew,
All right, this is Billy from Kincaid, West Virginia. Where did you get the where did you get the leather covered guitar in video Little Things?
Terry Langford he is the guy who did some work on Waylon Jennings guitars. Lankfort's Leather out here. I'll give you his number, 615-573-1566. He'd love to hear from you. He has a leather shop at his home in Franklin, Tennessee. And he's a cool guy and the best guy with leather I've ever. He's the Picasso of leather. So that's where you can get your leather business done right there. Yeah. Terry Lankford.
Hopefully you get some commission off that. That'll work. All right. Renee in Deering, Georgia. I love how you light up when talking about your collection of country music artifacts. What do you think is the most strange or odd item you've found?
The weirdest thing I have has nothing to do with country music. My buddy Brian Downs, who is the director of the John Wayne Birthplace Museum in Winterset, Iowa. We first met when he was a reporter for the Chicago Tribune. And I think his dad or his grandpa covered when John Dillinger, the great gangster, was assassinated. And there's a photograph that they ran in the Tribune of John Dillinger laying on the slab with a sheet over him with bullet holes all over him. And you can see a toe tag, hanging off of his big toe. And so somehow it wound up in the Downs clan that there's the photograph and John Dillinger's toe tag. Somebody lifted it and gave it back to however that happened. Yeah. But Brian Downs gave it to me years ago, so it is a strange and weird object that doesn't have any place that it fits in that collection other than it's the most weird and strange object in the collection. It's pretty cool.
All right, this is one that's hard to top. All right, Bart, this is your chance to try and top that. All right, Bart, Tip City, Ohio. Marty, what inspired you to write The Observation of the Crow?
I was in just a flow trying to progress the story of the Pilgrim character, moving through this tragedy happened in Mississippi. And his way of dealing with the tragedy was hitchhiking across the nation and being a hobo and jumping boxcars till he could get to the Pacific Ocean and drown himself. That's how much pain he was in. But so I was trying to move the character, across the nation by way of train and just travel. And we were in New Mexico putting fuel in a bus, and out in the middle of nowhere, and there was a highline pole with a crow on it, and I love crows. I was talking to this crow, and as I looked at him, I thought, you know everything going on in this town. You're the town gossip. You know more about everybody than they know about themselves. And the title, The Observations of a Crow, came around, and that's where it came from, just standing out there in the middle of nowhere. But I was writing a lot of songs for the Pilgrim at that time, and that crow thing was so absurd that it was fun. So I like it.
So this is from Randy in Sparta, Tennessee. What was the first big show you played with Flatt and Scruggs?
Well, it was just Lester Flatt. Flatt and Scruggs already broke up. And beyond the Ryman Auditorium appearance with Lester when I was 13, I think the next thing that really mattered, we played on the Porter Wagner show. You can see it on YouTube. I think 15 or something like that. So played on the Porter Wagner show with Porter and Dolly Parton and the Wagon Master Band. That was huge to me because I grew up watching that show, never dreaming that I'd be on it. But that was pretty big. That happened right after I came to town.
All right, this one's from Michael in Clovis, California. Was working with Mike Campbell, another hero of mine, as cool as it seems like it would be?
Absolutely. Campbell is the captain of cool. And I do think they should change the name of Fleetwood Mac to Fleetwood Mike now that they're working together. Just a suggestion.
All right, this is from Phyllis in Kansasville, Wisconsin. Is there a project opening date for the Congress of Country Music?
Like I said before, I think the Congress, if everything stays on track, 2.5 to 3 years, and you will be able to come and feast on country music culture.
It's from Lee in Charlotte, North Carolina. What was the coolest thing about living next door to John?
That I could go over and have a cup of coffee with him in the morning and talk about life and talk about world events. Just having one of my dearest friends as a next door neighbor.
All right, Lonnie, Kingsport, Tennessee. What's the 145 RPM record you heard as a kid that still resonates in your soul that confirmed I want to be a musician?
There was a record called High Heel Sneakers. Put on your red dress, baby, 'cause you're going out tonight. I saw people listening to that and dancing to it on the sidewalk in front of this place called the Busy Bee Cafe in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And I thought, that music coming out of that box in there is making people have fun and do that. And I thought, maybe I want to do that. So my mom bought me the record, 45 record.
Oh, very cool. This is James DeSoto, Kansas. What year was your mandolin made?
1972.
All right. This is from Otavio in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Who is the #1 country guitarist of all time?
Whoa, that's a big question. It was not me. Well, I think James Burton, who played on Merle Haggard's records of Mama Tried and those kind of things. That's one. Roy Nichols was another Merle Haggard guitar player. A lot of people would say Chet Atkins. A lot of people would say Jimmy Bryant. So I don't know. It's a matter of taste, but I think for what touched me, that slinky kind of string bending kind of stuff, somewhere between James Burton and Clarence White and the steel guitar playing of Ralph Mooney, who played the steel like it was a guitar. Those are my three guys. All
right. This is Martin in Hillsboro, Oregon. What's your favorite memory of playing with Johnny Cash, and what's your favorite instrument to play and why?
Favorite memory playing with Johnny Cash?
Yep.
We were going to play, it's a kind of a heavy thought, but we were playing Angola Prison down in Louisiana, which is a tough prison. And there was some prisoner who had been sentenced to a long, hard road there. And as we pulled up, the prisoner's mom ran up to John. There were guards all around, but she got through the guards, and I remember she put her arms around his legs and got down on her knees and begging John to go in and talk to the warden about helping her son. And I thought, whoa, that's the real end. That's the real end of things there. Yeah.
All right. This is from Ernst Peters in Riverview, Florida. Who is the leader you most admire, and what do you like about their leadership?
Political leader?
I think you can pick.
Wow. That's. I mean, I don't know if we're talking music or politics or religion, Christianity. Well, just to throw it completely over to the other side of the world, Red Cloud. He was a great Native American chief in the 19th century. And Red Cloud had a lot of, he was a diplomat and he was a statesman. He was a warrior, but he kept his people in his heart. And I think any true leader, whatever you're leading, if it's the choir or Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or Sunday school or the nation, if a leader doesn't have his or her people and their hearts and carry what's best for them, I'm not so sure they're a great leader. But I think Red Cloud was a great leader.
All right, this is from Brian in Anaheim, California. What is the heaviest music you listen to?
Heaviest? Wow. Well, when I listened to Chris Thile, who's an incredible mandolin player, one of my favorite mandolin players, he does all these things by himself, just standing there looking off into space. He channels Bach. He plays a lot of Bach's pieces. And some of them last for 5, some 10, some 15 minutes. And he never misses a note, and he's always delightful. And that's heavy to me. I always wonder, how did you do that, Chris Thile? So it's beautiful music, but it's heavy. Yeah. It's serious music.
All right. This is Joseph in Vienna, Virginia. Hi, Marty. Joe Fab here. Having been a fan of the Pilgrim since it was first issued, I'd wish you'd talk about writing The Greatest Love of All Time. It haunts me, and I think each of us who has been so lucky feels that way about the love of our life.
Joe Fab's an old friend of mine. We did some events around the White House back in the 90s, and Joe Fab was a big part of that. Hi, Joe Fab. The Greatest Love of All Time is a song that is on this record, and it is reprised with a beautiful orchestral presentation. The Greatest Love of All Time came about. I was trying to put myself in the position of this character, the Pilgrim, who had lost a girl that he loved down in Mississippi. I was trying to put myself at a point of heartfelt pain that he was going through and go, how could I possibly come up with something that was that deep that I could convey in the grooves of a record how this man feels about losing somebody he loves so dearly. And Connie came walking through the room. We had just been married a little while. And I looked at Connie and I went, if I were to lose her today, it would be the worst thing that had ever happened to me, and I think I would feel like this. And I swear to you, a train whistle blew close to. I've never lived in a house where I couldn't hear a train. A train whistle blew, and I wrote, the sound of a train out in the distance takes me back to you. And 5 minutes later, the song was done. The only heart I've ever met as pure as it was true. Your lips are as warm, sweet as wild mountain honey. They lay so sweet on my mind and help me to forget the path of regret and the fool that left you behind. Miles and miles of memories flow through me like new scarlet wine. And it's sad, but it's true. The girl, me and you, had the greatest love of all time. That would be awful to love somebody that much and have it and then it to slip away. I think everybody understands that feeling. It's all happened in some degree to all of us somewhere along the way.
Gregory in Three Rivers, California, what camera or cameras do you shoot with?
Man, I've had two cameras in my life. One was, I'm a dinosaur. One was a Minolta 35mm film camera, and I still shoot a Nikon F2 film camera. I still shoot film. Have to send it over to Dalmatian Labs in North Carolina and get it developed. But I like the look of film. I like I understand the instant qualities and the beautiful, clean, blow it up to the size of the water tower qualities of digital and Photoshop. I get all that. I love it, and I use it. But as far as the photographs I take, I still love shooting film.
This is from David in San Luis Obispo, California. Will there be an album or DVD from the Sweetheart of the Rodeo Tour? Any more shows?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. It was the 50th anniversary of the Sweetheart record, and I don't know that any shows were documented. I'm sure there's some bootleg copies out there, but it's a formal release. I don't think so.
All right, Anthony in Elmwood Park, Illinois. Is there a line set up for the late night jam?
A lineup?
Or a lineup. Yeah,
a lineup?
Lineup set.
Well, oddly enough, when we get through with this signing here, we're going to walk into another room right over there and begin talking about who's going to be on the late night jam this year. So stay tuned, brother.
All right. This is Nancy in Norwalk, California. How did you meet James Infeld?
James and I, there's some photographs in the Pilgrim book of those Memphis sessions called the Class of 55 sessions. And that's when Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins and Roy Orbison came back together in Memphis and recorded. And during the course of that 1 week that they recorded, it was a parade of movie stars and rock stars that came by to bring their, love and talent and get around the microphone. Ricky Nelson was one of the artists who came in because he loved those guys and loved that kind of music. James Infeld and his brother were a part of Ricky's band. And they came to those sessions, and as I recall, that's the first time I met the Infeld boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so we're finishing up here. 22 questions in 2 minutes. Ready?
Don't need to lay down on the couch. This is
All
an
right.
interrogation.
All right, 1, where were you born?
Philadelphia, Mississippi.
2, who would you want to play you in a movie?
Oh, God. Next question.
What was your first job?
Lester Flat. No, the Sullivan Family Gospel Singers. All right, my first job was cutting yards in my neighborhood.
Yeah, there we go. All right, what's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear? Being scared of something. I try not to be afraid.
All right. Who makes you laugh the most?
My wife, Connie.
All right. What's the one thing you need to have in your fridge at all times?
Water.
All right. What is your greatest accomplishment?
Surviving in the music industry for this long.
Who is the most interesting person you met recently?
Recently? Let me think about that. I met so many people recently. A mechanic in Mississippi had more common sense and more wisdom than anybody I've run into in a long time, and was just glad of his station in life, used it as his beacon and a place to love everybody that came through.
Very cool. What's your middle name?
My middle name's Marty. My first name's John.
All right. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve? Trash along the side of the road. Why do people throw trash out?
What's the last book you read?
I'm reading a book on P.T. Barnum's life right now.
Oh, cool. What's your favorite hobby?
Photography.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, chocolate-covered almonds at Publix grocery store.
All right. Do you have any hidden talents?
I don't think so. If I have it, it's out there trying to get used.
What color is your toothbrush?
White.
What's your secret snack?
Chocolate-covered almonds from Publix.
It's only 21 questions. All right. How do you take your coffee?
With a little bit of cream and 2 sweetened loaves. That's really not coffee, but that's how I drink it.
What's the last movie you saw in theaters?
Star Wars.
Me too. What's the last gift you gave?
The last gift I gave? I think I gave the guy that gave me my first guitar. His great-grandson, I had never met him, came to our concert Saturday night in Birmingham, Alabama at the Lyric Theater. And I met him, had him stand up in the audience, and I invited him to come up on stage. He's 15, 16, I don't know. And Will's his name. And so me and the Superlatives gave him our guitar picks. Harry gave him a drumstick. And he played the last song with us, and then he took a bow with us. So
oh, wow.
he gave me a gift, and I gave him one back.
What cause is dear to your heart?
Well, the Congress of Country Music, the preservation, furtherance, and passing it on to a new generation of people with traditional country music in their hearts. So the Congress of Country Music, I call it my hillbilly presidential library. That's what it'll be. But that's a great setting for that.
What is number one on your bucket list?
My bucket list? Somewhere with a palm tree. It's dreary in Nashville right now, so getting to go somewhere there's a palm tree right now.
Nice. All right, last one. Where do you want to go that you've never been?
Heaven.
Nice. All right, great.
Thank you,
well,
Brian.
Hey, thank you. And again,
Thank you,
go
guys.
to premiercollectibles.com/the Pilgrim. And thanks for all your great questions. We appreciate it.
Great job.